live with Periscope. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see people can just kind of pop in and leave a comment as kind of a one-way conversation. I think I saw two people who were playing music, so that was kind of like an open mic night at a karaoke bar or something, and so I was trying to get some ideas of what I could do with that for answering people's questions or maybe teaching a live class. And so that's something I want to test out. And this one person, I think, was playing music and then said, if you like this, go check out my Instagram link, and then there's videos to other recordings I've made. So that was an interesting way to promote themselves live and then send people over to another account. So, but, and I've heard good things about HelloTalk, so I was testing that for sending some messages and maybe even some audio messages. And there were a couple people who were helping me out with my Russian, so I was testing that. And I could see that there was for the free version, I think you're just limited to one language, but on like a paid version or a premium version, I think you can say you could learn multiple languages, like that, not just limited to one combination.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that seems to be the case with a lot of the apps, that you can only pick one language unless you pay.
And it makes sense from an ad one perspective, because you don't get overly distracted on like a kid in a candy shop, like, oh, I want that. Oh no, I want that. I want to try that here. And what are your goals language wise for the new year?
Oh, I think I will just continue to work on French and Spanish. But as I was telling Michael, I found someone. I think I found her. All right, dog. Sorry.
No problem.
It's always like this. Go ahead. You can go too if you want to. No, I have two dogs, one of whom is absolutely insane to get the squirrel that runs on the fence outside. So, she's a Cocker Spaniel. There's no chance the fence is 7 feet tall, but she thinks she's big, shall we say. But I had a lady, I think I met her on the language exchange site, I think, who has offered to teach me some Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese, if if I'll speak English with her, which of course I'm always glad to do that. So looks like I'm picking that one up too a little bit. And then I use all the automated software online because it's just good practice. I don't know. Some of it moves too fast and some of it moves too slowly, but it's okay. I think I'm about half through the Duolingo Spanish, but the French one I never have time to play with.
I mean, the trick could be to sign up for one of those Duolingo French for Spanish speakers or Spanish for French speakers, and then you get forced to compare and contrast the two languages.
That might be interesting. I've never thought about that. Someone just mentioned that somewhere, but I was thinking, well, how would that work since I'm not really fluent in either one? I mean, I can get by if someone doesn't talk too fast, and as long as we're not talking about anything too sophisticated.
I think on a Duolingo, you kind of get your feet wet with it. Not so much of have to be part of a conversation. But I mean, my experience with those two particular languages has been my first year of high school, I started with Spanish, and then 2 years later, then I started French. And hi, Arash. Yeah, you pinned it right. I overslept. So that's my New Year's resolution is not get so distracted by my new cell phone and these new gadgets. And yeah, but yeah, I was telling Carol and Michael I was testing out Hello Talk and Periscope and Snapchat, which I downloaded, and then I was just like didn't go to bed until too late. But what I was saying here with yeah, Hello Talk is just on the cell phone or the mobile device. I think it's cell phone, yeah.
I think it might work on tablets.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, probably devices.
I think. I'm not sure. I haven't tried. I have Hello Talk, but I haven't used it much. I had signed into one group, and I was just getting inundated with
yeah
messages. So finally, I opted out of
WhatsApp. Yeah, I had some difficulty with WhatsApp. With
that one too. That was worse.
Yeah, there was one group. There was one group that I joined about a year ago, before I was really getting active teaching online. So I could just follow a couple messages on the group, but Vadim, one of the other person who is a little bit active in the group, he told me his experience about using WhatsApp and that he was using WhatsApp for business. And he was also getting messages from a language group, and there was no way to kind of give priority to like a certain contact of like a business message. So anytime WhatsApp would pop up from the group, he would just get these messages like emoji and.
Oh yeah, I noticed the same thing.
So he finally said like, okay, this might be an interesting way to practice language, but at that point, there's no way to prioritize the messages. So he kind of had to quit those groups. And with the new phone, I got back on WhatsApp and I saw all these group messages, and it was just, yeah, it was overwhelming. If you can't really silence it or prioritize it. So
apparently not. I tried the same thing, and I was just getting huge numbers of messages, which were really people talking to each other.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it wasn't so much a group dynamic at some point.
Right.
Now with my son's preschool, several of the parents, actually like all the parents, have put in a WhatsApp group. So it's not really like, okay, I'm not going to join it. I mean, so it's like if there are messages about some activity at the school or a last minute thing of, does anybody know this or that, or we got a recommendation for like to try out a different pediatrician. So so that was useful in that respect. But sometimes, yeah, you get emoji and you get little side comments that isn't really like everybody is involved. So that gets a little difficult.
Exactly. It was a problem. So.
But what you were asking about the Spanish French about that, and then I was saying, high school I did 2 years of Spanish, then I started French during my third year of Spanish. Then that moment was a bit mentally challenging because it was my first foreign language and second foreign language, and kind of mixing what was going on. And I remember the teacher asking me some question, and I wanted to say "si,"
I do
and
that.
I wanted to say "we," and I ended up saying,
I do that now.
I ended up saying "sui." Yeah, I said "sui," and that was one of those memories. But little by little, it started to separate enough that I could speak in the class and change from one class to another. However, after 6 years in France and then now 8 years in Mexico, I mean, they are separate there, but there were moments where when I was in France, my Spanish was heavily influenced by my French. And then now my French is getting influenced by my Spanish, by just like the daily usage. But there was every once in a while, there'd be a really hectic Christmas holiday where family from France would be visiting Mexico City, and my family from California might maybe visiting at the same time, and going to restaurants or having family meals was like just mentally challenging, because somebody would say something in Spanish and I would have to translate this into French and English. Then somebody in English would talk and I had to translate that into Spanish and French, and then somebody in French, and then back and forth Spanish. And there was one conversation one time with the French grandfather, Mexican uncle, and my dad, and I don't remember what they started to talk about, but it was doing that of somebody would say something, I have to translate these two other languages and back and forth. I didn't even contribute. I was just translating simultaneously these comments. And I think a couple of days later, my dad had this comment like, I had this really interesting conversation with the grandfather and the uncle. I don't remember, were you there? And I just looked at him dumbfounded, like, what do you mean you don't remember I was there? That conversation would have never taken place if I wasn't in that conversation. But it's mentally challenging to be switching back and forth instantaneously. But I know for professional translators who do or interpreters who do simultaneous interpretation, they can only do it for like a half hour, and then you need to take a break, and then somebody else, like another interpreter, takes over, and then they do that intensively, and then they need to take a break and you kind of switch back and forth. But the languages are close enough to kind of go back and forth. And my wife works at a French Mexican high school, and all the kids go back and forth, and they mix things, and that culture itself, they're all mixing things back and forth. So they call it kind of fragnol, this French Spanish mix, and you see it in the kids' essays, you see it in the kids' homework, or in the conversation. They'll switch, they'll mix. There's
if I could mix, I'd be fluent, because between the two, I'm really in good shape.
Yeah, you wouldn't be alone. I mean, there's cultures on this French-Spanish border, and here in Mexico, Mexico City, there's a pretty big French community, a French-speaking community, and especially around the high school. So that has a lot of all of the parents. Yes, I'm in Mexico City in DF, and a lot of the parents are intercultural mixes, where there might be a French mother with a Mexican father, or a Mexican mother with a French father, or maybe some other Spanish-speaking country. So maybe one of the parents is French, but then another one could be from Mexico or Argentina or whatever. And then even times there's parents who have no background, no Spanish-speaking background, but the high school has some prestige, so they want to get their kids enrolled there. And then the kids end up being trilingual, where it would be French as the teaching language, Mexican Spanish is kind of what all the kids talk to each other on the playground, and then maybe there's a third language from one of the parents. We met this one set of parents, which was a bit crazy, where the mother was German, and I think the mother was from Ecuador. So she was bilingual, Spanish and German. The father was French and Colombian. but he was mostly a French speaker. And then one of the kids who was friends with my son, he was multilingual for like German, French, Spanish, and my son with Spanish, French, English, but the kids end up speaking Spanish to each other. But it's a crazy mix, and all the families have some international expatriate background, or maybe they like globetrotting. So it's an interesting environment. It's very stimulating to not be the only parents in there who are kind of handling 2 or 3 languages and switching back and forth. But it does do a lot of mental gymnastics to handle all that.
Michael and I were talking about plans for the year, but I told him, I'll just keep adding extra language and trying not to let on too much. I don't know. Focusing, for a 3-month to add one is going to be difficult. I'm planning on doing some more of those, just because it keeps me accountable to where I do it. Because otherwise, I jump around a lot, and I don't know if I get anywhere or not. I spend an awful lot of time talking to people.
Yeah, my goal last year at the beginning of the year, we on another similar Add One challenge platform, Language Heroes on the VK Vkontakte platform. There's a girl, Evgenia Kasheva. She organizes, kind of like Brian, she organizes a 12-week program. And when I got started in October 2015, it was the first time they were opening it up to foreigners learning Russian. So I got really spoiled with just all of these Russian speakers who were learning foreign languages. And I was saying I could help them with their English, their French, or Spanish. And so they were really helping me out. And then at the beginning of last year, January 2016, she partnered with Benny Lewis to do his Speak in a Week challenge. So that's where actually I discovered Benny a little more directly, and then also just find out a little bit more about the Add One challenge. I got more information on through Facebook and through some of those other events, but with the Speak in a Week challenge, I decided I was going to do that for 52 weeks. I could only do that for 12 weeks, and then my online teaching started to really take off, and so I couldn't handle that. And also the Facebook group was probably around 3,000 people a year ago, so it wasn't quite so active to kind of find all of the native speakers who I could get for these different languages. Who knows, maybe I could attempt this a second time for a new language each week, but I would have to definitely keep it very low key, because my teaching is still very, very active, very busy. But I did like the Speak in a Week approach, and this try something new, and
yeah, that's
as a way to keep myself active.
That's
not overly ambitious to learn too much, but just test my techniques. See what I can do on a Monday for 15, 20 minutes. Not overly commit to I'm going to do this for hours and hours, but just trying to test myself. What can I do? What can I learn in 15 minutes, or what can I learn in 5 to 10 minutes each day? Because the experience for the Add One challenge with recording myself on a daily basis, that seemed to be very effective. And I think Arash has also taught me a lot about less is more, in terms of if you can start with 5-10 minutes, you have a chance of opening that up a little bit more, and not just feeling like, oh, in the Ad One challenge, I committed to an hour, and then now I'm a failure because I only did 45 minutes. But if you commit to like 15 minutes and then you get interested, curious, you kind of end up doing a little bit more. If possible.
Yeah. Actually, the Benny Lewis Speak in a Week thing has got me started.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
I wondered. I don't know. I've signed. I'm signed. I've paid ahead of time to do more Ad One, so I will probably do more of those this year.
Okay. So, hello everyone. Yes. So I don't know what to say for plans for next year. I don't I don't know. It's hard to say what plan. But it's. I have something that in February I'm gonna visit Netherlands. So definitely.
Wow.
Starting from tomorrow, I am gonna intensively study Dutch because I don't want to go to Netherlands and all the time English. I know everybody says, "Oh, the Netherlands people, everybody speaks English." Who cares? Who cares they speak English? I want to speak the local language wherever I go. So. So yeah, but other than that, and today is day 90 for one of these Ad One challenges. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do the day 90 video. I might not bother to do it. I don't know. Because I wasn't sure, but I am not sure anymore if I want to participate in Ad One challenge. Kind of gets because I want to structure my own learning, not somebody else tell me. And sometimes this 90 days when to start that 90 days, or even if in 90 days I want to study several together. I don't think Ad One challenge will be so useful. I'm not sure. Yeah. How about you? Carol said that she wants to participate in Ad One challenge, but how about you, Jonathan and Michael? I don't know. Do you want?
I keep wanting to go back into Language Heroes and Ad One challenge, and then my teaching schedule kind of gets in the way. And especially for the Ad One challenge, I was a bit nervous about the mini challenges. Those always catch me off guard, and then also the time zone things because I think I think the time zone cutoffs are for like London or for Western Europe. So like by the time it's midnight over there, like it's halfway through the day in North America, and you're like, wait, I have to finish all this stuff early in the morning my time, which I guess that's not such a bad thing. I mean, if you're not doing your goals until later in the day, I think what you've told me before, you're completely correct about your mental cell phone battery is now depleted at the end of the day. You're not really effectively learning something. So if it's not early in the day, early in the week, then it's a little stressful. But yeah, like the mini challenge with contributing the sentences, that always got me off guard. I mean, and you don't have to do them. I mean, I was a bit like competitive that I wanted to win a plane ticket. I came very close in Ad One, the 15 one, but
15.
I think, yeah, but for the 16, yeah, that I did the two of them simultaneously, and that didn't work. I know Brian told me like, hey, are you sure? I can do it. I can do it. And she said, no, no, no. Yeah, like, so I think I'm another proof that you shouldn't do two of these at the same time.
But
I don't agree.
But let me remind you of something that you probably forgot already. You have forgotten that the main reason I think that those two at the same time didn't work wasn't that you couldn't do it or something was wrong. The main thing was that. The reason that you wanted to learn Greek was for a polyglot conference. The why wasn't so strong, so it wasn't enough to push you to the direction. Because anything that we want to do, there will come a time that we don't feel like doing it, and that's the time the why matters. If the why is so weak, then and don't feel like doing it, I am not gonna do it because this why is not as strong just for a polyglot conference, which is not even sure 100% you are gonna go there or not. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of not very strong why. So
yeah, and I think
that was the main reason.
Yeah, that's true. And I think the second was that I ended up on like a month-long work vacation in the United States, and then it was teaching, spending time with my family, doing touristy things in Los Angeles, and trying to keep up with learning Russian and keep up with learning basic Greek and also the study groups and mastermind groups. And then it was just like my schedule was then overloaded, and it was kind of a little like too much. And then the weakest one there was the Greek, which just kind of just stopped. But, just one second, my daughter is now, Okay. Well, yeah, my kids are awake now, getting active, so I'm gonna have to interrupt. But and I see that Carol and Michael kind of got going too. But
Michael left, but Carol wrote that she lost her mic. I don't know what happened.
okay.
Yeah, as you can see, she wrote there.
She's not referring to Michael. She lost another mic. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, anyway, I have to go soon as well because there will be a football match, and I am a I am a big football fan. I know that in probably in the, I'm not sure about Mexico, but in United States, nobody cares about football. I mean European football, not American football. That's that's American football. I have no idea what's that because I never watched American football. But you call it soccer?
Don't worry. I think.
Yeah.
But
so
I think if you want to watch American football, you can watch replays on the internet. But I think if you're not American, I think usually it's a more difficult to get interested in the American football games because it's like they throw the ball and then they go out of the field and then they stop and then they're thinking of their strategy for the next play. And so compared to soccer, it's just 90 minutes of constant movement. And I think with American football, it's like you do something, stop,
time out,
go forward, and then my brother showed one article one time where they did the actual kind of a stopwatch of how much time is the ball actually in play compared to all of the broadcast, and it was something like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, where a lot of time the clock keeps ticking, like and time is being technically wasted to kind of let the game clock move on as a strategy, and actual movement, actual gameplay was very, very short in comparison. All of it was like replays and camera on the coach or camera on fans or camera on something else. So yeah, it's for a lot of people who watch other sports that are just constantly in movement, then it can be a little boring for them to watch it. If you didn't grow up watching it, it can be a little
Yeah, of course, football is also kind of the same, as you call it, soccer. It's kind of the same, but they don't stop it. They don't stop it, but a lot of times goes out of the play, or the other team is wasting time, so it's not always ball movement. So maybe 1/3 of that 90 minutes is wasted, but at least it doesn't stop. Timeout or all those stuff. But yeah. So, but anyway, for language goals, what do you want to do? You said, oh yeah, I remember now. You said something on. I'm trying to remember, because when you got your mobile, you made a video about it on the group. What was it? You said Russian. You want to learn more Russian. You said French and Spanish. I don't know what about French and Spanish, because I guess you are already
maybe teaching it. Yeah, I was mentioning about teaching for those videos that were live once a week for about 12 weeks, just to see if there was still interest in them to contribute a little bit more to those topics. But I would definitely keep focusing on Russian. I mean, it's at an intermediate level where I can defend myself, but I would like to bring it so that it's not just something I could speak, but something that I enjoy speaking and practicing. And so I am testing out a few of these platforms like Hello Talk or Periscope or Snapchat, or see if I can integrate a couple of those little messages and audio messages in kind of a non-synchronous way of, like, not live exactly, but see if I can exchange some messages back and forth with a couple people and see if there's room for some progress, because time zones can always be a little tricky, but
and for okay, so you want to because we can maybe why do we have to need always the like add one challenge or things like that for accountability, this kind of thing? Why can't we do that without add one challenge, this kind of thing? So we can maybe do this for between ourselves, like keeping each other accountable. So so Russian and anything else that you want to like add to your list, or
I would like to actually do what I was starting to try to do last year for 52 weeks. However, around week 12, my online teaching started to pick up and became too intensive. But I was doing Benny's Speak in a Week challenge once a week, and I was able to do that for 12 weeks, but wasn't all that great. So I think now I'm going to try it and also not overcommit in terms of only just keep it 15 minutes per day, and just see what I can learn in 15 minutes in a new language. Just the basics of hello, how are you, thank you, building my script, practicing some pronunciation with a native speaker or a recording. But I think now with the Facebook group being at least 15,000 people, I think there's some room there for me to discover at least 52 languages that I haven't tried out before. Nothing overly ambitious about becoming fluent, but just being curious. and seeing in a limited way, 15 minutes each day, what could I possibly do, and how could I document that, or how could that be beneficial to other people, or how could that be beneficial for other people in the group if they were wanting to discover the languages.
Yeah. Yeah, and one thing is that I'm not sure if you do or not, but I definitely don't do, and it's not a habit that I have, but it's very necessary for being productive. Many people like recommended this, that for making goals that we have, whatever goal things that we want to achieve, the best way is to schedule it. If it is what is scheduled is gonna get done. If it is, oh yeah, I am gonna do it without any scheduling it, it's not gonna happen. Most likely, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I think I'll schedule this in such a way that, like maybe every day for weekdays, for example, as soon as the kids leave in the morning to go to school, I will focus for like 15 minutes and be careful with too much of the social media, like emails and messages to kind of distract me. But yeah, I'm going to schedule it so it isn't just at the end of the day, because that didn't work. But it's early in the day.
The problem is with social media and email is not only the time that you spend. The problem is that what was that term they use? Like I don't remember that term, residual something. What was it? Okay, I try explain it. I don't remember the term. Sometimes it's funny. Psychologists or people use a special term. Sometimes I don't. Yeah,
I think you like reactive.
Not reactive. It was like reactive. Of course, is true also. But this one that I am thinking now is that when you have something unfinished in your mind, your mind is not gonna completely focus on the task that you are doing. A part of your mind is thinking about that thing. So the problem is that when you check email or social media, if you don't answer it, it's not done. It's gonna be residual in the mind. So instead of now, even if you say 15 minutes, even for 15 minutes, what you could do with 15 minutes of 100% focus, even 5 minutes of 100% focus is not going to happen, because your mind is partly thinking, oh, that thing I need to answer to that email or that person. So what was it, residual something?
That makes sense.
That's the thing.
That makes sense. Yeah. It's lingering. It's unfinished business. So yeah, it does occupy your concentration. But yeah, I will keep that in mind.
So that's also this when that thing is in mind and it's not done, that's gonna like that analogy of battery for it's gonna like even drain the battery even faster and more than before, faster than before. So it's yeah. It's also something that I have to work on, not to use social media and email so much. And yeah. And for language, I don't know. I have not. I don't have a plan yet. But of course, Estonian. I am in Estonia. Estonian. I really want to make it to to the advanced level by end of this year. And so I want to plan to take at some point C1 exam, and it's gonna be very hard because especially my speaking is very far from C1 level. That's not possible right now, but until end of the year, I'm gonna try to achieve that. And another thing is Dutch. As I said, I want to go to Netherlands. Dutch will be one language will be added to my list. And for other languages, Hungarian, I lived in Hungary 3 years, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I want to improve it and make it like C1 or something, because it's gonna take a lot of time. Do you know? Are you familiar with this difficulty rankings offered by FSI, Foreign Service Institute?
I know the Foreign Service Institute, but I'm not familiar with what they've ranked as difficulty level.
Yeah, difficulty level. For example, they say languages like Dutch, like Norwegian, these languages which are very similar to English. For general proficiency, person needs 575 to 600 hours. For German, like 750. But for languages like Estonian, they say like 1,100. And for languages like Chinese, they say 2,200, like something crazy. So that's number of hours. I'm trying to, as much as I can. Of course, those numbers might not be accurate. Maybe somebody learns faster or slower than that. But I want to take those kind of things as my goal, instead of making my goal to reach C1 as soon as possible. Instead of that, if I can, I want to make a goal that is process oriented, which is, for example, spend that 1,100 hours as soon as I can. Like reach that 1,100 hours. That's process, because there is no other way. Like for C1 exam, passing C1 exam, maybe somebody is gonna find a list or try to find tricks to pass the exam, things like that. But 1,100 hours, if somebody want to spend, there is no way other than spending that time. So the only way is to focus on the process, and hopefully that will become a mindset shift for me, because as I said, one of the biggest problems we have, I think you also have, but definitely I have, is that I always judge my progress. I say, oh, I am progressing too slow. I'm not learning as much. I wish I was better. I wish I wasn't so slow in learning this language. I wish. And this mental chatter go on, and I end of this mental chatter, if I continue listening to it, I'm gonna be demolished. Like I will be totally demoralized, because I feel like a worthless person, or the worst learner ever existed. It's like that. So if I make it process oriented, it's gonna be like
that's true. I think if you trust your process and maybe compare yourself to your future self, not your past self. Of like, is what I'm doing today going to get me to where I want to be tomorrow? And not worry so much about where you were yesterday. But I think you're a great accountability partner. It's been a pleasure talking with you this past year and discovering you in the Ad1 Challenge, and then also through also Lindsay's self-study course. I think you were in there as well, and then you've been so active in the Facebook group and in these Hangouts, and so it's been a big pleasure talking with you, and I wish you all the best for your goals for 2017. It's a real pleasure learning from you, because you've had so many insights and sharing so much experiences that you've had language related and non necessarily language related, you've had a lot to contribute, and I really appreciate that. So I wish you all the best. It's great talking with you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I wish you all the best as well, and hopefully not hopefully, because hopefully that means usually
you can't control it.
It means that I wish it happens, like it's out of our control. No, we will make it happen. So we will next year this time we will celebrate what we accomplished. And one important thing, because in 5 minutes, in few minutes, the football match is gonna start. I want to say one thing that a lot of times I forget myself, and I forget to do it, but it's very important. Like somebody said, when you make a goal, first commit to that goal, then do that thing. And one thing that is very important that I always overlook and almost never do it. He always says that write about it, journal it. It's like recording your wins. And one important thing is that when I am feeling I am not making any progress, I can open this notebook that I just use for listing my accomplishment. And if somebody wants to go to detail, even make it better, he suggested that each time, for example, let's say about language learning, speaking in a language, for example, you mentioned Russian. For example, let's say you speak Russian and you before you go to a class or exchange with someone, before that you write about it. You say, for example, I am feeling my confidence level before this interaction is, for example, let's say, I don't know, 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10. And for example, I have a little bit like I'm a bit anxious, or I am scared. It's not scared, but yeah, it's some feeling that is not very pleasant. And then after that happened, you say, okay, now what is my confidence level? For example, it was 5, it became 8. And what do you feel? And how that negative feeling transferred to something positive? Because when we do something, it's 9 out of 10. It's gonna transfer to something positive. So he said, if you keep that, a journal like that, your life is gonna change. And also he said, each time before going to bed, try to read this journal, because what somebody focuses on is gonna expand. So if I focus on how I am getting better, I'm gonna get better. That's gonna expand. But if I am gonna always focus on how far I am from where I want to be, always like, oh, I am still not fluent. I am still like, that becomes, instead of focusing on what is going right, what's going wrong. And that going wrong is gonna expand if I focus on it, give it so much energy and attention. So this was something that I saw recently. Somebody recommended, and I just remembered. I said, maybe this is good. New year, start this journal.
Yeah. Focus on the positive changes and keep the positive ones increasing and strengthening. And yeah, I think that's a good approach. And to keep it active in the mind, I think, like you said, if the why of something is not strong, then it's difficult to kind of commit to that. But I think I think the insights you share are really really great.
Yeah.
So keep
Yeah,
them
and
up. And,
yeah, and I just remember all these talks, but really I have 2 minutes until the football match. But one thing I just remembered that is also very important. He recommended that always try to make the habit emotional, have something attached to it, emotional. For example, if I want to do something, I should not think, okay, when I made that habit, I'm gonna see the positives, I'm gonna feel good about it. I have to right now, when I think about it, I have to look forward something that is emotional, like I want to do it. Like, for example, he said, talking about shower and he wanted to be so fresh, and said, how can I make myself like feeling excited about shower? So he wanted to attach an emotional thing. He said, each time he go to shower, he asked himself, what can I be grateful for so much that's tears gonna come out of my eyes? Like, that's a feeling of gratitude he attached to for example, shower. For example, it was cold shower and he didn't want to do it. Cold shower is not easy thing to do, so he didn't want to do it. But his mind associated the cold shower with that feeling of gratitude, that he's so grateful that tears are coming out of his eyes. And so, okay, after a while it becomes so emotional that he wants to do it, because his body also wants to do it because of that emotional attachment. So sometimes it's a good idea, find something emotional. How can we make it rewarding and emotional? For example, that 15-minute thing that you said, how can you make it feel excited about it, not just doing it, something attached to it, right after it you do something.
Yeah, I think being grateful for the fact that I have all these people around me in this community. I'm especially grateful for everybody who's wanting to join the group and who participates in these hangouts. And I think this joy of learning and mutual respect, I think there's a lot to kind of not just be an admin and do nothing, but maybe kind of promoting the fact that there's so many language backgrounds and so many people from different countries, and just a way to promote that and encourage people to discover it and not just be like one language, but realize that kind of the world is very so much to discover. So I think that's something to keep me motivated, not just a mental pursuit of random languages that are just on paper, but realize that these are cultures, these are people I'd like to connect with and like to learn about. So I think that's something that can help me stay motivated. And if it can also inspire somebody else, then I think that can be kind of cool. But
so the main point is that you want to make that habit of 15 minute making video 15 minute long stick, make it something that you look forward to, because it's like something brings some positive emotion in you, like I don't know, so you do either gratitude or something you do right after. For example, I don't know, for example, let's say somebody enjoys dancing so much, and each time he does this video right after he or she is gonna dance, and so that's gonna be like emotion he is look forward to, because he knows that after achieving this, it's gonna be something that he's so much he or she is looking forward to always do. So that's something to do, because I have to say, I try to make different habits, but I never did this process. That's how can I make it emotional? I never look forward to it. Each time I was thinking about one of these habits, I said, "Oh, that's boring." So it didn't bring any positive emotion in me. So that's why I guess I wasn't so successful in creating those habits, because it wasn't something I would look forward to. Yeah. So.
This has given me a lot to think about, a lot to reflect on. But yeah, I really appreciate this. Yeah. So,
so
I'm definitely going to get a new. I'm going to get a new notebook. I'll put this one and say this was 2016. It was a great year, and I'll start a new one for 2017. And yeah, I have a lot of good feelings for language stuff and business stuff and building up social presence and activity. But yeah, okay. Well, I'll see you in the new year, and enjoy your football match. So.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Have a great. Oh, that's morning there. So have a great day. Yeah, have a great day. Because in here it's so dark now. Right now it's so dark.
Nighttime already. Okay.
It's 5. It's 5. But in Estonia, in winter, the days are so short. It becomes a bit the
dark or dusk.
Like the
sunset.
Sunrise. I don't know exactly this times, but it's usually 6 or 7 hours of daylight. 6 or 7 hours. That's 17 hours of darkness. 17 hours of darkness. That's a lot.
Yeah. That's a
kind
lot.
of extreme. It's kind of extreme, but in summer it's other way around. In summer, until 10 p.m. until 10 or 11 p.m. It's light, and then 4 a.m. is again light. So it's 5 or 6 or 7 hours of darkness
at night.
darkness, and then now it's 17 hours of darkness, other way around. So okay, anyway, so have a great day, and have a great new year also. Start the new year.
Yeah.
So see you.
Take care. See you soon.
See you. Bye.
Bye.